What is up, everybody? How's it going? Austin Prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Friday, everybody. TGIF, TGIF. Today, we are going to be talking about setting boundaries really quick. This is going to be like less than 5 minutes. That's my goal. Quick little short live to help you guys not only recognize your own worth, but also recognize some of the things that you may be doing right now and how you might need to shift it around and change that, because setting boundaries is extremely important for your health, your happiness, your fitness goals, your weight loss goals, because that is a big problem for a lot of people. A lot of my clients too. Whenever they first come into the program, like a lot of people, maybe people kind of like people pleasers, or they may be like perfectionists, or they want to do it all, or they may want to, try to give as much of themselves as possible, and they spread themselves so thin that they can't full ass anything and end up half assing everything. And if that resonates, we've all been there before, where we've put a little bit too much on our plate. But that's what I want to talk about today is boundaries. So as you're tuning in, let me know how your day is going, and feel free to give this video a like so other people get a chance to see it. Let me know how your day is going. If you've got any fun weekend plans, feel free to share them. But we're going to jump into this here in just a second. So setting boundaries is like, that's really good analogy. So you are the club, right? You are the club. Like, and I can't necessarily relate because that was a little bit before my time. I don't go clubbing, but or for a bar. Let's say for a bar or for a club, you have to pay a cover charge to get in, right? That's like a set standard for a lot of like bars and clubs, right? You got to pay a cover charge to get in. Otherwise, you ain't getting in, right? You ain't gonna have access to it. You're not gonna get to, but you want to, right? So you pay the cover charge. You need to view yourself as the club. There needs to be a minimum like requirement for you or for this person to meet, whether that be communication skills, whether that be respecting you, whether that be, you, uh, you know, like to be treated a certain way, right? And if they do not meet those requirements, they do not get access to the club, which is you, right? And your time and your energy and your mental bandwidth. And so you guys need to start viewing yourselves in this way. You need to know your worth. And a lot of times, we get so caught up, or based off past experiences, we just get in this like cycle of getting run over by everybody, or getting run over by things, or not setting those boundaries for other people, right, in your fitness journey, but also not setting those boundaries for yourself, right, and holding yourself those boundaries and drawing that line in the sand and saying, this is what I'm willing to tolerate from other people, or this is what I'm willing to tolerate from myself, and I am not going past that line or below that watermark. And if I do, I better get my ass back to that, above that water line, or back on that side of the boundary. Otherwise, I'm in deep shit with myself, or I'm in deep shit with others, kind of deal. And so you need to set those boundaries with yourself. And a lot of times, I hate to say it, but a lot of times, people struggle with their fitness journeys or their weight loss journeys because they're really bad at setting boundaries with other people and with themselves. And a lot of it comes from being tied to like your old identity. A lot of it can come down to, maybe even like past, like, potential, like how you were raised as a kid, and maybe like childhood traumas and things like that, that you need to be, proactive about. And you need to try and break that cycle within yourself. Because like I've talked about before, like you're the only one who can set boundaries. You're the only one who can enforce those boundaries, right? And obviously outside of like like abusive relationships and things like that, where there's it's you can't control some of those things, so you need to get out of those situations. I'm not talking about that, but a lot of clients that I've worked with in the past, like they've been in positions where they've been in relationships where the other person is not supportive, and they're too afraid to set that boundary with that person, or with their spouse, or with their boyfriend or girlfriend, or whatever it may be. And guess what? Because of that person leeches into their journey, and messes their journey up, and messes with their time management, and messes with them going to the gym, messes with them going and eating the right foods and things like that, because they are not setting that boundary. They are not setting that fee of admission into the club, which is you. And so you need to view yourself as, and have, and love yourself enough, right, to set those boundaries, to recognize that you haven't been good about setting those boundaries in the past, and acknowledging it and doing something about it. Because if you don't, you're just going to keep getting run over. You're just going to keep spreading yourself too thin. You're just going to keep getting setback after setback after setback because you are not setting those boundaries for yourself. So, and boundaries are super important for your fitness journeys. If you don't have any boundaries, if you don't have like a water line that you're willing to like hold the line for, then like if you stand for not if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing, right? If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. So what do you stand for, right? What is your admission to get in for others to get into your club? I'll just full transparency. Like, there's been people in my past where I'm like, damn, like I don't like the way you treat me. You're out of my freaking life. Damn, I don't like the way, like, I've had family members that I don't talk to anymore because I think that they're shitty people, and I'm not afraid to say it either. And it's one of those things like I don't talk to them anymore because I think they're shitty people and I think they're shady. And it's one of those things. It's like I don't fuck with that. I don't let that bring that shit into my life. Like I have no problems saying bye bye because I have a minimum requirement to be in my life, and you should too. And if those people don't meet that standard or meet that minimum requirement, they get out. If you try to bring them to help them see your side of things, right, and they keep pushing that boundary and they keep breaking that boundary, tough shit. Get out of my freaking life. Like, and you need to hold that boundary for yourself. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but over time you get better and better and better and better and better at it, right? And when you start to do that, you start to get your power back, right? And then all of a sudden things start coming into alignment, and your life feels so much better. And you're like, damn, like I'm so much happier. I have so much more energy. I'm being my authentic self. I'm surrounded by people I enjoy being around. But it's not going to happen unless you take control and are proactive about it and hold that line. No is one of my favorite fucking words in the world. No is one of my favorite fucking words in the world. I love telling people no. I love saying, no, I don't want to hang out with you. Or no, I don't want to do this. Or no, I'm not going to do that because I have a minimum requirement to get into my club, right? And you should too. So that's all I got for you guys today. That's all I got. Hope that this was valuable, but hold that line. Set that standard for yourself. What is something that you are going to be tougher about? What is something that you're going to be maybe stronger willed about in terms of like holding that line with, right? Maybe it's going to be, I'm not, within that boundary within yourself. Maybe it's, I'm not going to, eat out as much. Maybe it's going to be, I'm going to track my food every day. And if I don't track that food every day, I'm going below that water line. Maybe it's, I will, get a minimum of this many steps a day. Maybe I'm going to work out 5 days a week this week and I'm going to hold that line. For other people, maybe it's, that boundary with other people. Maybe it's, I am not going to be talked to this way, or I am not going to surround myself with people who treat me this way, or I am not going to, let that boundary be broken when it comes to me getting my workouts in and my significant others trying to like sabotage me, right? You need to have that for yourself. You need to have that for yourself. Have some respect for yourself because you deserve it. You owe it to yourself. And I hope that this was valuable. So other than that, though, that's all I got for you guys today. Have a good rest of your Friday, TGIF. And yeah, other than that, feel free to, hashtag replay if you watch this later time. Drop a like. Feel free to ask any questions. But hold that line. Set those boundaries. You are a club worth getting into. And you need to treat yourself like that. So cool. Other than that, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.